Hi, Editing Sam. Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Sam. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Booktober Day 5. Ba ba ba. I hilariously never filmed an intro, and I'm sorry this is the face that you're getting for the intro, but I completely spaced. So welcome to this vlog. This is going to be for the Mystic Readathon hosted by Nell. I will leave her down in the description so you can go follow her. In this, we will be reading 3 books, one from some of the teams. I'll be reading 2 faction teams and then a Nell favorite in this video because time constraints and availability of not being able to find audiobooks for a lot of these things, which is annoying and frustrating. But it happens, and I had fun reading these. So, welcome. I hope you enjoy. Bye. I'll see you at the end. Okay, hey. Hey. So, I'm going to update on my completion of reading. Sorry. Sometimes that's just how it be. I listened to the entire audiobook of In Every Generation by Kendare Blake, I think. I'm so sorry. And this was a Leandra pick, which is interesting because she also did Battle of the Booktubers, and so I love her content. I love her. She's incredible. I do wish that I had more time to hang out in sprints and watch people's booktube. There's just not enough time in the days, and it makes me so sad. But Leandra, top tier, highly recommend everybody follow her. And also she's doing, I think, TBR Harvest, which is a readathon in October, which I think will be a little bit more chill. So I'm looking forward to that. But anywho, In Every Generation is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer continuation, which I kind of knew going into it, but I didn't think it would be too terribly important. I sorry to say, did not venture down the Buffy the Vampire TV show. Didn't hit for me when I was growing up. I was more interested in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and then quickly things like the Vampire Diaries definitely kept me more interested. But after reading this, I kind of want to watch at least a little bit of Buffy and see how I feel and what I think. In Every Generation is following Willow and Willow's daughter, Frankie. And no, Frankie is not Frankenstein like in Monster High, which is what I kept envisioning. But we're following Frankie, whose best friend is Jake. There's a girl, Vi, I think. And Vi has a little sister, Haley, who joins this little trio of friends. And then you get to see Spike, who I think is from the original show. Willow, who's from the original show. I don't know if Oz is from the original show or not. Buffy does not make an appearance. She's potentially dead. And basically the kickoff of the story is that all of the Slayers die. And now the vampires are coming back to New East High or something in California. And vampires are starting to hunt on the turf again, and things are a little bit scary and dodgy, and weird magical things are happening. There's a countess, there's all of these characters which I have such little context to. I definitely think that you're gonna benefit reading this book more if you're familiar with Buffy rather than if you're not, because Spike, for example, I don't know anything about this man, and I'm expected to know some things. I do obviously get to know the character and I learn about him, but at the same time, it helps if you have the background context going into it. But overall, as a story, I didn't think it was that bad. It was fun. We're following a younger, new generation with a werewolf and a slayer, and Haley, who I don't think is magical in any way, shape, or form. Frankie is a eco witch, so they're very earth conscious. And overall, I thought the mysteries were interesting. The characters felt high school. Wow, felt very YA and very high school, which is interesting for a Buffy continuation, because you would imagine you'd be aiming for the adults who loved Buffy growing up and want something that they could enjoy. But this definitely is for a younger reader who somehow stumbled into Buffy while still being pretty YA, just because one of the examples is Frankie, something happens to her and she's friggin', and it's girl, yeah, you're a high schooler, but you could also just cuss, you don't have to do this. So it definitely had a lot of YA feels and moments to it, but I don't think that necessarily negates the story. It's just interesting to look at it who the audience should have been and who the audience actually is. But overall, I think the writing was fine. I think the characters were fine. Obviously, if you have more context to the world and everything, I think you would get more enjoyment out of this, which is why I'm landing on a 3. Just because it's a fine story, but without the context, it's like I don't super care about anything. I don't have like this connection to anybody. It's not like I got fan favored when I saw Spike show up or whatever. But it was overall like a good mystery. I do think it's a series. I don't know if I'll continue. I might. It's a very easy read, like very easy listen, read, like YA, doesn't take long to get into. Everything just is laid out for you and makes sense. Overall, like, yeah, I just think it's like fine. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was just like, it is what it is. It was a good book, but it wasn't like 5-star incredible book for a IP I'm not familiar with. So that's all that I have to say on In Every Generation. If you like Buffy the Vampire, I definitely think that you would get enjoyment out of this and you should definitely check it out. But if you're like me and you aren't super familiar, you're not like missing out. I'm going live soon. So I figured before that happens, I would jump on and chit chat with you guys about updates for this vlog, which have taken a bit of a turn, as well as a review. So, unfortunately, 2 of the books that I plan to read are completely unavailable. You love to see it. I was planning to read Sinner's Isle and The Hanging City, and they're just like non-existent across Everand, across Libby, Hoopla. So, I won't be able to read those like I was hoping to, which means that this video is significantly shorter and I'm not doing justice to all of my incredible co-hosts. It's impossible to read all of these books, but I was trying to read at least one from each team, and time constraints of the readathon. It is now almost the end of the month. I have 1 book to read for this video before it goes live. So it is unfortunate that I won't be able to read all of the books that I was planning to. I am not in a place where I can just buy every single book ever. It might seem that way, but I can't just buy every book that I ever want to read, hence why I rely heavily on Libby and having like my library systems. So I am sorry. I did try. I know no one's gonna be mad or care, but I was trying. This happens. But I will still be finishing this vlog strong. I have 1 book left to read. I'm nervous. It's probably the chunkiest from this TBR, but I have finished reading Blood Debts, which I need to get the author's name. Terry J. Benton Walker. What a name. This is a young adult set in New Orleans, and that seems to be like the theme this month. I don't know why, but set in New Orleans, very like witchy, necromancers involved. It's a very cool magic system and magic like world, but also heavily is dealing with conversations of racism, because basically Black people have a different type of magic that is like passed down through lineage, whereas white people have their own different type of magic. And you know, white people being white people are like, hey, their magic is bad, we have to take the power. So that's a big like background piece of it. Their grandmother is dead, their mom is sick at the beginning of the book, and we're following Clement and Christina. They're twins, and they're very interesting characters. They've got a kind of strained relation? They have a strained relationship dynamic. There's clearly like a lot that we're seeing them kind of work through together. They're not super close, but yet they're still like twins and have this relationship, and they're siblings and they care and love for each other, but keeping secrets from each other, aren't super like willing to, you know, share on a lot of things. I think my biggest issue with the story is it really focuses on the characters and their relationship and their dynamic with each other and those around them, which is totally fine. I think that Clement and his boyfriend at one point were super cute, and I did really like them. I think Valentina just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Later we get a different POV that I just didn't care about those characters when they were introduced. I was like, you're not adding something to the story. Like, I like being with the twins, but when we're with the twins, there's a lack of urgency, since there is like this mystery that they're trying to solve and trying to figure out what's going on, and there's just a lot of moving pieces, but it's focused so much on like these siblings that don't really get along all the time, that I didn't feel there was urgency with like trying to get their mom from not being sick. Like, she's clearly been cursed and they figure that out. And the agency in which they're like, I want to heal my mom, it just feels so backburnered for so long because they're doing so much other stuff. And I just like, we just felt like we were getting sidetracked too often, and I wanted to kind of focus on a plot and like stick to that story point. I'm more of a plot driven reader. I want there to be something moving the plot along. Good characters are obviously very important, but I need something to keep the characters going. So that was just something for me personally that I was like, we can move along, which I think another critique is this just could have been shorter. It didn't need to be so long, and then maybe I wouldn't have felt like we were meandering at times if maybe we just shortened it. I've been reading so many large books lately that I was just like, can we just make books quick and consolidate it and like get to the point and then have like those nice character moments. I know I'm asking for so much in the books just in general, I know, but that's reading, baby. Overall, I think that the world and the magic system were super interesting, and I was really invested in those parts, especially when like necromancy got involved. I was like, this is everything. I love necromancy. I really liked the setting. I really liked the characters' other relationships. Them together was a bit more annoying. I'm so back and forth between like, do I love Christina or can I not stand her? And so I just like, there were so many times where I'm like, she's so annoying and she's causing all of these issues, and for what? Like, just communicate. But I also understand like they're teenagers and communicating is hard, and I get it. I know, I get it. Overall, in the end, I don't think this is a bad book. I like the narrators. I think the audiobook was good. I enjoyed the magic and the world and the mystery when we saw it. I liked learning about different things. I feel like the message at times was a little bit unclear, but I will be continuing, and I think it's just a duology and I'll be finishing it at some point. It's not like the highest priority of a series, but I do want to finish it. I'm giving it 3.5 stars in the end. I know that Nell really likes this. I'm not sure what about it she likes, but I can see like a lot of good. I think that the sequel especially will just have more. I already know what the conflict is going to be between the siblings. I know like what is going on. I'm checked in now. Like, I get what the story is going to be about for the second one. At least I think I do. Who knows? They might throw me a curveball, but I feel like I have like a pretty clear understanding of like where the second book could go. And a debut writer can only get better as like the books progress. So I'm excited to check out the sequel. But that is my review for Blood Debts. I do recommend. I think it's a nice YA. I think the audiobook was good. If you're like ready to invest a little bit of time into a story, I think you're gonna get a lot out of it. There was just little things for me that I was like, it's not a perfect book, but I did enjoy it. So also got crazy points for me on Team Werewolf, so that was also great. We love to get many points. Hey guys, so I figured because I'm reading less books than I had initially planned for this video, I thought it would be fun to do the scavenger hunt that Nell put together for the game night, which was so much fun. I nailed 2 of the questions of the Guess Who, and I felt really good about myself. So now we're going to do the scavenger hunt. 15 minutes on the clock, and I've tried not to look at most of them. I cheated a little bit while I was like setting up the microphone and everything. I was like, okay, and I read the first like 3 and then another one, and I was like, stop reading them, Sam. So I only know 4 out of however many there are. So with that said, we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna do it. Let me pull up a timer. Okay, I started the clock. Now, the first one is to find a book that starts with the first letter of your name. That's easy. Sing me to sleep. My name is Sam. Sing me to sleep. Boom. I think that's a mermaid book. The next one has a cover that is your color's faction. I'm Team Werewolves, and therefore I need a gray cover, which I don't think I would have. Why would I have a gray book? No. Oh, thank goodness. I have 1. Technically, I'm going to count this, even if it's, like, on braid. But Divine Rivals, this is the Fairy Loot Special Edition. Yeah, I'm also being good and putting my books back as we go. That's a terrible idea. Okay, the next one, find a book that has your faction's mascot. Oh, no. Like I said, Wolf Song by TJ Klune. No, like I said, that's not what I said. I'm Team Werewolf. Wolf. Let's go. I'm not going to put this back because I think I might have broken something. A book set in fall. Ugh, I'm not good at this stuff. If we were villains, because it's set during school, so I think it starts in the beginning of the school year, and then, like, you see it progress. So, set in the fall, at least a little bit. The next one is, has a magic system. Very broad, very vague. Magic system. Come on, fantasy. Anything. This is magic. I love that I'm picking books I haven't read. Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. There's, like, you can, like, shapeshift and, not shapeshift, you can take other people's bodies? Body snatch? You can body snatch. The next one is, has a main or side character that works in a restaurant. Works in a restaurant? I'm not supposed to pay attention to their jobs. This is relying that I remember a lot. Smile. This is assuming that I remember the books that I read. What did I recently read? Oh, I don't own that. Shoot. Okay, we're gonna come back to that one. That's hard. Okay, is a faction leader favorite? Guess what? I'm a faction leader. Therefore, Kaike. This is my pick for the readathon. This is the one that I wanted people to pick up if they were going to give the option. It's so good. It's so good. Has a ring on the cover. A book that has a ring on the cover. I would love to do The Blood Trader, but I don't own that yet. There are so many things on this, but not a ring. Okay, we'll come back to that. Come back to that one. Okay, the next prompt is a book that has a map. That feels easier. Booyah, a map from The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. Next prompt is a book that takes place in one day or night. Oh. Straight up? I don't know. This might be silly and naive, but Survive the Night, does this only take I can't remember the plot super well, but does this take place in just one night? Because I remember, like, she's leading up, she gets in the car, they're driving all night, and then, like, they end up at the destination. Is that, like, a day trip? I can't remember. I don't think this counts. I don't know. Okay, a book that was published in 2009. Girl, I don't know. Oldest books on my shelves. Okay, 2005, 2010, 2008, you're kidding. 2012, oh my goodness. 2007, oh my god. 2014, okay. This isn't going well for me, y'all. 2014, 2009, oh, I knew this book would, of course, work for me. The series, Fallen, Kate Lauren. A book that has been adapted. It, by Stephen King. This is the chunkiest book, and I thought I was going to read it this month. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. So that's the whole list. The ones that I haven't done were takes place in one day and one night, has a ring on the cover, and the main character or a side character that works in a restaurant. Now, I know... Oh, wait. I think works in a restaurant. Cafes count as a restaurant in the eyes of terminology, because they serve food and beverage. Okay. Works in a restaurant. So that just leaves has a ring on the cover and takes place in one day or night. That's so hard. That's so much harder. Okay, I can't confirm this because I haven't yet read it, but Graveyard Shift by Ella Maria, this just came out. I'm so excited to read it this month. I'm so excited. But it says, one dark October evening, one, just singular one, where these people come together every night, just one night. So, I think I'm going to count this. Cheater McCheater Pants over here, I'm counting it. And so the last one that I need to find is a book that has a ring on the cover. That shouldn't be this hard, right? I'm sure at this point you are all screaming at me about some title that I've not remembered. That just blaringly has a ring, and I just don't know it. And I pride myself thinking that I know covers. Ugh. Am I being silly? Does a ring just mean a circle? Because I have lots of those. But I can't find a book that has just a ring, like a diamond ring, like a pretty classic ring. If you're like me and you're thinking Lord of the Rings, my editions don't have rings. So, the one book that I'm thinking of I don't have the right edition. I feel like a fool right now. I have 6 seconds. Okay, nope. We're not gonna make it. Oh no. Well, 11 out of 12 isn't bad in 15 minutes. That ring one was so hard. Maybe if I was smart, I would have removed Kaike and been like, boom, nose ring technically would count. But I was thinking like finger rings, and so I didn't want to be shifty about it. Man, I really can't think of any though. Like, the two that I have in mind, I don't own them. So that sucks for me. I technically failed, but I'm gonna count this as a win because 11 out of 12 ain't bad. If you want to try this little challenge on your own, I will leave the scavenger hunt prompts that Nell came up with down in the description in case you wanted to play along. I think scavenger hunts are fun. I think it's nice to be reminded what's on your shelf. Thank you to The Fallen for being the one tried and true old book on my shelf that just always completes the prompts when I need them to. We love to see it. Okay, well, with that said, I'm gonna go. I have another book to read, so I will check in with you later. Hello. I am reading A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. This is Little Mermaid, Pirates of the Caribbean, dark romantasy, mostly smut, if we're being real and honest. And I'm actually, here's the thing, I've read Karina Halley before, so I knew that it wouldn't be, like, the worst read, it wouldn't be, like, a total miss, but I also, like, got the content warnings. I knew what was going to be happening. Like, I knew that she was going to get branded. I knew that there was going to be dark moments, dubious consent, so on and so forth. And so I was, like, mentally preparing for that. But there's so much high fantasy in this because she is the tale of the Little Mermaid. Marin made a deal with the Sea Witch to give her her voice and tongue, to have 2 legs and walk on land, to fall in love with Prince Eric, who turns out to be the worst. Disney's story gone bad, right? And so trying to escape Prince Eric, she ends up, whilst they're traveling across the seas, in the captor of the pirate Captain Bones. Silly pirate name, but that's okay. His name's Ramsey, and he kidnaps the prince and princess, Eric and Marin, kidnaps them for, leverage to get money and so on and so forth. And luckily for us, they start catching a little bit of feelings. It's a cute little captor-captee moment. And eventually, things progress from there. I actually like these characters separate and also together. They have chemistry, they're interesting, they're bonding. It was very, insta-lust for sure, but seeing them together, getting to know their backstories and the reasons as to why they are the way they are, it's doing it for me. Karina Halley is so hit or miss on how she writes smut. It's not, my favorite. It's not, so bad that I want to crawl out of my skin and skip forward or anything. It's not boring. It is a little bit slow for sex scenes just because it's so long in the book, but it is what it is. I have 2 hours left, so I need to finish that, and I'll probably play some Sims while I listen. I was reading along, but I don't have the attention span to just sit and look at words and listen to words at the same time. I need to be doing something so that my brain can actually take in the words. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of phone games today, which I should switch to not phone games at the very least. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really don't have major critiques, knowing that it is a dark romance, knowing that there is things that it can be seen as a toxic relationship because they're monsters and stuff. It's not people trying to be good or whatever, they're morally gray. Yeah, and I'm just here for the ride. It's not my favorite, it's not fantastic, it's not the best I've ever read in terms of dark fantasy romance. I think just because it's so long, I'm interested in the overall objective of trying to find the Sea Witch so that they can make deals or kill her and have that revenge story as a proper plot to get us through, and it is holding the story together. So I am enjoying that. I just wish that this was shorter. I'm so sick of reading long books. I think November is going to be 300-page books only to get me through in novellas because I'm over it. But that's my update. It's nothing crazy. It's not a new favorite by any means. It'll just be cool that I can finally say that I've read this because I wanted to read this since it was announced. I put it on my Kindle Unlimited literally the day it came out and just never read it. So it's nice to check it off the TBR at the very least. But with that said, I'm gonna finish it and play some Sims and relax a little bit. I finished and I'm giving it 3 stars. I don't really have anything more to say. It's got a cohesive storyline. The plot makes sense. There's a solid foundation of a story. The smut is written well, I guess. It's not bad. It's certainly better than Black Sunshine, which is the only other Karina Halle I've read. So she's definitely improved. It achieves what it set out to do, and I think that's great, and I really have no further notes on that. Like, it did what it did what I wanted. It was a good time. I'm not gonna get into, like, toxic relationship sometimes, because that's kind of the point when it's like a captor-captee type of situation. Like, it's gonna happen in a dark romance, and I don't think it was ever like so bad that I was uncomfortable or like couldn't handle it. It was like clearly intentional. Clearly these two characters cared for each other deeply, and like there was something there, and the chemistry worked for me. So overall, I had a good time. It's way too long, honestly. If we could just start shortening our books again. I love romantasy. I don't need romantasy to be long. I just don't. You can give me 300 to 400 page books in a series. I'll be fine with that. So with that said, that is the video. I want to give a huge... Okay, one. I'm so sorry to, I think it was the witches and the vampires who I did not get to read a favorite from. Time constraints and just availability of books, and I feel bad, but it happens sometimes. Also, biggest of shout outs to Nell for having a like very successful, very fun, very engaging first readathon. I think there's a good chance that it'll be coming back sometime next year. I thought it was fun. I love Vampire Diaries. It's a good time. I loved the merch. I loved the question of the day. I loved the trivia, the game night, the dance. I'm clearly in desperate need of a rewatch because I have forgotten so many things. The trivia was hard. But I also need to give a massive, huge, gigantus, is that a word? Shout out to my co-hosts on Team Werewolf. I am so proud of everybody who was on our team, who read. I'm proud of anyone who read anything in the month. You did great. But especially my team, we had some absolute rock stars of people who were answering these questions right. Kita fucking crushed it with the amount that she read, and she was our MVP of the team. My co-hosts were so helpful with understanding how everything worked, and were able to like kind of walk me through it, especially because it was a rocky time, and I really appreciated all of the assistance and support we had with each other. It was very good communication, which I really, really appreciated, and it was just a really fun time. I am looking forward to seeing how it goes next year, but with that said, good job, Team Werewolves. Good job, everybody else who participated. I hope you had fun. And I hope that you have an amazing October reading as well. But for now, that is all. And I will see you guys in my next video tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Bye!